Pretty
Yeah, I got
cool.
a friend that's gone through 2 courses of anabolic steroids. And I was like, don't they make your balls real small? And his response to me was like, in the most Australian accent ever, he was like, yeah, but they're fucking sick when they're small. They're all out of the way and shit. I was like, dude, that's the fucking funniest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
if that's it's worth those side effects like tiny balls, right?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Mr. Bill podcast. I'm Anand Harsh, editor-in-chief of theUnst.com, Bill's manager, and the Sancho Panza to his Don Quixote. So many shows, so many streams on the record. Let me just take this opportunity to say thank you to all the Mr. Bill fans. And I forgot to celebrate the fact that last episode was number 100. So yeah, thanks to everyone who listens. You're all very cool and attractive. Today's guest is voice actor, sound designer, and composer Simon Chylinski. This is a super behind-the-curtain view of how the sausage gets made, and let me see if I can squeeze in another trite idiom. Nope, I can't. You're going to enjoy this chat. If you're a Patreon member, you're getting this show a week early. You're also getting a full video of every podcast as it comes in. It's a lot of fun, and you support the show and our podcast producer, Robert, without whom any of this would be possible. Thanks, Robert Fumo, for getting us to the big number 100. And more. Bill has a busy Halloween weekend at Nightmare in Maryland, Freaky Deaky in Texas, and Pandemonium in Los Angeles. The first and third stops are Kill Bill dates, and the middle one is the debut of the Freddie Todd back-to-back set. There are many more dates coming up that I'll tell you about when I feel like it. Finally, head over to MrBillsTunes.com to sign up to become a hardcore Ableton-ear. This is how you become a better electronic music producer, period. That's all for me. Enjoy Bill's chat with Simon Chylinski.
Hey, you're listening to the Mr. Bill podcast.
Hey, you're listening to the Mr. Bill podcast.
Hey, you are listening to the Mr. Bill podcast.
Hey, you're 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 listening to the Mr. Bill podcast. Hey, you're listening to the Mr. Bill podcast.
Hey, you're listening to the Mr. Bill podcast.
Hey, you're listening to the Mr. Bill podcast.
Hey, you're listening to the Mr. Bill podcast.
Cool, man. All right. Well, yeah. How you doing? Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me on, man. It's been a long time since we talked. It's been like years.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we used to chat a lot back in the day. Yeah, so I guess before we go on too much, I should like introduce you a little bit. But like at this point of the conversation, like my manager will have done like a whole intro thing, so he will have already introduced you and talked about what you do and stuff. But just to recap, I guess in case he doesn't do it properly, you're a sound designer primarily, but also you write music as well. And you used to work for Unknown Worlds, and then you got fired for some naughty tweets. You got cancelled, and then now are you working for that YouTuber guy? Is that what's going on?
I do a little bit of work for this YouTuber, but I'm on 3 different projects right now. I'm doing like they're all games, so I'm actually pretty busy. But yeah, still working on games, doing music and sound design. So yeah, like one of the games I'm doing is like a sci-fi kind of thing. That's like my main work right now. It's like a RTS top-down view sci-fi thing. It's actually really cool. Like that one, I'm writing sort of the music I'm doing for that is like similar. It's kind of like sci-chill. It's based on sci-chill, but it's like a little bit more like action focused. So it's bringing in like different kind of elements to make it a little bit more like, you know, it's not so peaceful. It's more like a little bit more aggressive. But been pretty busy recently.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, to clarify, I guess like the the stuff that you used to work on or have worked on in the past. You did all the sound design, I believe, for Natural Selection 2, and then you did all of the sound design and all of the music for Subnautica, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I wrote a couple of tracks for Natural Selection 2 as well. I wasn't the main music guy there, but I did a couple on that.
Nice. Yeah, so the only other, well, I've had a couple of sound designers on the podcast now, but I think the closest guest I've had to you on the podcast was Mick Gordon. And I always find it so fascinating. And I also, Ivo Ivanov has been on here, and he's also kind of like, a sort of developer, sound designer. And I guess Richard Devine has been on here too. All sort of in that same world. And I guess they all have like completely different stories as to how they got into this kind of stuff. How did you get into this kind of stuff? I guess like the question would be like, how does one go from being, I guess, like a music producer to going like, I've got all these, music production skills and whatnot. How do I go from there to doing all the sounds for a huge game like Subnautica or something like that?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question, because I think like a lot of sound designers would actually start out this way. Like they'd be a musician first or a composer, and then they kind of adapt their skills to do the sound stuff. So I mean, the way I started was like at the time I was doing a lot of psytrance, just producing that stuff. And
which is how we originally met, right? Through the psytrance
right.
scene.
We met
Australia.
at that Dove. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, so I was doing a bunch of that stuff at the time, and I always really liked kind of like sci-fi, like the kind of sounds that I would hear in films that they would do there. So I just, at first I started just incorporating some of those into the music. I thought they just kind of sounded cool. And that kind of developed into, after that, I kind of just wanted to actually do more of that. And so what I did is I wanted to teach myself how to do it. So I got a trailer. It was like the StarCraft 2 trailer.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, and so I got that, and I decided I was going to replace all of the sounds in there with my own, right? At the time, I didn't have any like sound libraries or anything like that. I bought a cheap recorder. It was like an Olympus handheld recorder thing, like a dictaphone. And and I just proceeded to just record a bunch of stuff and like, put it in there and see how it sounded like. And like at the start, it was shit. And I was like, okay, this is actually much harder than I thought, right? Like, so I was okay at music. I was pretty good at that. So I thought, I would adapt to this thing really easily. And it turns out like, sound design is, it's got its own quirks. It's a little bit, there's a bit to learn there. So, so that's what I did. So over the course of like a few months, I kind of worked at this trailer, kind of learning what to do. And at the time, I was also, I was trying to get feedback on this trailer. So I was putting it up, back in the day, we had forums. We didn't have Discord channels. So there was this like sound design forum where I would put stuff up. And there was actually like some pretty big name sound designers that would frequent these forums. There was like a guy that worked on Doom 3. There was a guy there that was working on the Mass Effect series. So it was kind of cool for me to like kind of try to get feedback off these guys, right? So I put this trailer up there. And after a while, I just got contacted by Unknown Worlds. So they just saw this there, or someone, I think it was actually the music guy. They saw this trailer, and they decided to, they just offered me a job. It was a small job first. It was just to do like a trailer for them, to do the sound for that. So I did that. After I did that, they offered me a job to just work on Natural Selection 2. So for me, I just kind of fell into it. I didn't really because I felt like I wasn't good enough yet, right? Like I was still like working on this thing, and like I was planning that, like, once I'm ready, I'll start like sending it out to companies. But like it just turned out that putting it out there was enough to get some interest, and yeah, so that's how that started.
Damn, yeah, that's awesome. I I always say to myself I'm gonna do one of these trailer things one day and try and get into the sound design world, but then I always inevitably end up just working on dubstep or something like that, and then getting sort of pigeonholed into that scene. One thing I was impressed with is like before the podcast, I always, or not always, but I was trying to do a little bit of research on just what you've been up to and whatnot. And I saw on your Spotify, like your streams are actually pretty high. They're like 170,000 monthly listeners, which is, I didn't expect. But I guess it makes sense because the Subnautica thing got like kind of a cult following or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it's mostly that stuff. Like I do put up my own stuff there. I'm doing a little bit of like kind of cyberpunk kind of stuff. So yeah, like that gets some streams up there as well. So that's nice, like a little side project thing.
Mm. Do you register all of these Subnautica tracks with APRA?
No, I didn't do that. Like as far as I know, I signed off all the rights to Unknown World, so I don't think I can actually do that.
Yeah, I think you can. I think you always keep your publishing or whatever that right is that a PRO collects for you, right? Like that. I think it's like illegal for anyone else to own that. So what I did is I did the same thing for the Mum and Dad soundtrack, which is like that movie that I scored. And I noticed that after I registered all of those tunes on APRA, my royalty checks went from like, 20 cents a month, like some random, like really extremely small amount of money, to like a huge chunk of change every month. It's like some months it was like over $10,000 of just like royalties coming in because the movie had got released in cinemas, and it's like since simmered down. But I was just like really fucking impressed with how much like performance royalties are out there once you start getting into at least the film industry. I don't know if it's the same for the game industry.
Yeah, like I think film does that a lot. I'm not too sure about the game industry, but I think you're right. I think I'll actually do that. I'll run all those tracks through APRA. Like I'm registered on there, so I might just do that.
Yeah, for those who don't know what APRA is, it's basically like a performance rights organization, and I guess the equivalent of that would be like ASCAP or BMI in America, or SOCAN. I think it's called SOCAN in Canada. And essentially what these companies do is they just like search around for the hidden money and give it to you. So I guess the idea is that when a venue plays your music, I think, like, like somebody plays your music in a club or whatever, I think clubs have to pay this umbrella license or whatever to PROs, and then that money gets paid towards you somehow. And I guess with film it's like maybe the same, like the theaters have to pay like this umbrella distribution license to just like play music in there, and then that gets divided up. I don't exactly know how it works. I know there's a big document online that explains it that I haven't read, but yeah, I was curious about PROs in the game industry, but if you haven't done that, then you wouldn't know.
Yeah, like I did hear that they're like, because I think originally it was like you basically you signed off all your rights and you actually didn't get anything, because it wasn't like when someone's like playing a game, it's not it's a little bit different than like a film being shown to an audience. That like legally it was classified a different way. But I think actually something like that has changed recently. I'll have to like look into that properly, but I think it's I think there is a way on PlayStation to get some royalties from there or something like that. Like I have to look into it properly, but
Right, but it's not like when somebody, say I download Subnautica and play it, every time one of your tracks plays in there, you're not getting like a stream count and a royalty from that. Right?
No,
like,
it doesn't work like that. And they wouldn't really be able to tell, right? Like I don't think the game actually logs which track is playing and things like this. So there would be actually no way to tell. Yeah.
Are you still working completely in Reaper?
Yeah, pretty much. Like that's my main thing. It's really good for sound design, I think. Like I used to use a lot of Fruity before. I still use it a bit now, but I usually just use it to send MIDI to my synths. I think Fruity handles MIDI really, really well. And so yeah, that's mainly what I use it for. It's got these like nice, it's like called a MIDI out plugin. And this is really nice. So I can like set the MIDI channel. I can send a specific MIDI signal to each individual synth, and I can control them with like MIDI controllers through that. So that's what I use Fruity for. But in general, I'm using just Reaper.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard a lot. I know Mick Gordon also uses Reaper. And yeah, agreed. I think Fruity probably has the nicest piano roll out of any DAW. Like you're able to just like instantly draw in chord stacks, and you have these like slide notes, and you have all this interesting shit that I haven't really seen in Cubase or Ableton or Logic or anything like that. But yeah, why Reaper for the rest of it, and why do you think that's kind of like become the standard in the sort of sound design industry, or at least becoming the standard?
Yeah, like I think Reaper is just really good with audio, like just audio clips. So like I'm not surprised that a lot of sound designers use it, right? It's just really, really fast at like, editing audio. You can also make your own like shortcut keys and things like this for us. You can kind of customize it. So like, for example, like the kind of work I do a lot of like time stretching, and so I want to be able to quickly switch like the pitch, like keeping the pitch constant or letting it just, play back slower. So like manipulating it that way. So I've got like shortcut keys for that. And yeah, I mean, like I did try to do some sound design work in Fruity originally, and it's just clunky. Like it's got these like audio clips that you can use in there, but just like the cutting is not nice. Like you cut it and it leaves these clicks because it doesn't do like proper zero crossings and things like this. Whereas like Reaper gives you these like nice little fades and things like this. So it's very fast to work with audio in that.
Yeah. I think Ableton is really nice for working with audio too, but it's so bad with video. And I think that's where I always kind of get stuck with dealing with trying. Like I think if Ableton was really good at handling video import, I probably would have made like a few sound design reels by now. But yeah, it's just as soon as you put a video in Ableton, it just dies. It's so bad.
Oh, really? Yeah, no, I haven't tried Ableton with video, but yeah, Reaper is quite good at that. Like it takes a whole bunch of formats and plays them back. Well, you can render a video. You can even do like basic video editing. Like you can do some fades and cuts and things like this. So
yeah, Reaper's got some crazy features. Like spectral peaks is a crazy one that I saw on the Reaper forum. Have you seen that one?
Yes, I haven't used that one. Spectral peaks.
Yeah.
Like
it colors your waveforms, and you can say like, I want the bass to look more red, and I want the mids to look more green, and I want the highs to look more blue or whatever. So it's kind of like a CDJ in that way, like if you've ever played a track back on a CDJ and you see how like the Pioneer waveform looks, it kind of gives you information on how much bass and how much highs are in things via the color of the waveform. And yeah, you can just straight up do that in Reaper, which is crazy because I mean, like you could just be looking at a ton of channels and be like, oh, there's like a bunch of red shit over here, then that means there's a bunch of low frequencies, and that might be what's causing this mix or sound problem that I have, or whatever. And stuff like that. I wish Ableton had that kind of stuff.
That's cool. I'll have to look into that.
The other crazy thing about Reaper is it's like $50 or something.
Yeah.
It's so cheap.
Yeah, no, that's another good thing. And actually, like the demo of it is essentially free, and it has no limits, right? It just gives you like a 5-second pop-up when it opens, and after that you can just keep using it. So it's like for anyone that like wants to start out in sound design, yeah, just get Reaper, just get the demo and just like practice in it, because it's like, yeah, and then if you decide you're gonna get serious, you pay $50, right?
Right. And that way you don't have to wait the 5 seconds or whatever.
Yeah.
And I guess if you have just the demo version of it, there's probably some like legality issue with like if you haven't paid for it, you legally aren't allowed to like go selling stuff that you make in it or something. Probably.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something like that. But like the good thing is like they let you use it. Like a lot of doors, they'll kind of limit it. Like Fruity will just like disable saves, I think, and a bunch of stuff like that in the demo. But yeah, no, Reaper's really good. It's got this other thing which I haven't seen in other doors, which are like extensions. So you can you essentially you connect it to like these different repositories of like effects and scripts, and you can download all of these to Reaper, and they do things like you can get effects and instruments and stuff like this, right? But you can also get like extra functionality for the door. So like for example, like I'm not so good at music theory, so I've got a little scale finder that I've got. So I just highlight notes that I want to find out what scale they're in, and I click this one thing, and it tells me like what possible scales these notes could fit in, right? And this doesn't come with Reaper, but it's like one of these extensions, right? So that's really cool, and there's tons of stuff in there, and there's really good like developers working on effects and stuff like that in there. Like one thing I use from there is it's this thing called I gotta pronounce it properly. Nostalgizer. It makes whatever you run through it sound like it's being recorded on like a shitty tape. Like the pitch kind of wobbles a bit, and just kind of
Nostalgizer makes it sound nostalgic, I guess.
Yeah, it's this kind of thing. So that's really good. I use a bunch of like synthwave stuff. I run that on the synth.
Nice. Yeah, there's a plugin that does that by a company called Yum Audio called low pitch dropout or lo-fi or something like that. Yeah, there's a bunch of plugins now that do that, like just or sort of intentionally make it sound like a shitty quality recording.
Yeah.
Because it's like an aesthetic thing that people want now or whatever.
Right. It actually sounds really nice. For a while, I was trying to make some synth, and I couldn't quite figure out how these guys were actually doing that. Like I assumed they got these vintage synths, and it's like, nah, like a lot of the time it's just a VST and they just run this stuff on it.
Yeah, you can do most shit in the box these days convincingly, which is cool. So you and we both started in Australia in the doof scene, I guess. And you've since moved to Thailand. I've since moved to the US. What probed the Thailand move?
Well, it's a lot cheaper here. So I was living in Sydney. Like Sydney is real expensive. And I remember like the first time I visited Thailand, I was like in my kind of like early 20s. I went there for some like kickboxing training, right? Like I was training a lot of kickboxing, and I wanted to book like a pro fight, well, like a amateur fight, but there's like an audience and a ring and stuff like this, right?
Wait,
So
and you were gonna fight in it?
Yeah, I was gonna fight, right?
Damn.
So I wanted to train up a bit before I did that. So I did like a training camp in Phuket, Thailand, and like that was really good. I stayed there for like 6 weeks, and like when I was there, I was thinking like, man, it's like stuff here is so cheap, and I kind of like that's when like that idea came to me. It's like, man, if I could just make like a little bit of money that I like from Australia or like from a different country, and I don't have to stay in Australia, like I just move here, right? So anyway, after that trip, like a few years later, like I got this job at Unknown Worlds, and then soon after I just thought, no, fuck it, I'll just I could do that plan, right? Like I could just move to Thailand and just live there. But yeah, but I never actually ended up having that fight though. So like I booked the fight. I went to the weigh-in, and I was super nervous, right? Because I was like, I haven't been in a fight since like primary school, like I beat the shit out of that kid, but that was a long time ago, right? So yeah, so I went there on the night, and just my opponent just didn't show up. So it was kind of like, yeah, it was anticlimactic, but that's what happened there. But
that's cool.
anyway,
Yeah, I didn't know that you like trained fighting.
Yeah, I've been training a lot of that stuff for a while. Like when I was a kid, I trained like Taekwondo. I trained some like yeah, kickboxing later, some jujitsu as well. Yeah, like all that stuff. I was always into that stuff.
Cool. And you still train?
Not anymore. Not anymore. It's a young man's sport, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, I do a bunch of I like to keep fit, but I don't train any of this like combat stuff. So yeah. It's
Yeah,
also
true.
like it's bad for your hearing. Like a couple of times I got like punched in the head and it makes your ears ring and stuff like this, and it can actually like properly damage your hearing. And I kind of, especially like when they've got the glove and the glove is like, it's a little bit wet and it kind of hits your ear and it just like that pressure kind of pops your eardrum. Like that's really bad. Like it can make your ears like ring. It can really give you like proper ear damage. So like I got hit like that a couple of times and I was like, man, I kind of need my ears. So yeah.
Yeah, getting
Yeah, so
slapped in the ear is no good. I think
it
a few
sucks.
other things that seem innocuous that can damage your hearing a lot as well is like surfing, because it's
Oh
like
really?
actually, yeah, it's like actually incredibly like loud, and you're always getting your head slapped into the water and shit like that.
Huh, I didn't know that.
Uh,
I've heard
yeah, I've
jet skiing can give you a concussion and you don't even notice, right? 'Cause it's pretty bumpy on a jet ski, and then yeah, apparently this gives people concussions. They don't even realize it, but then they get brain damage from it. So it turns out like the human body is actually like a lot more fragile than people used to think. Like a lot of these sports, like obviously like boxers get a bunch of brain damage, but like like football players and yeah, even sports like you wouldn't think are particularly like uh violent, like soccer, right? Like those guys from when they headbutt the ball, right? From that, like you can just get brain damage from that as well. It's yeah, you gotta look after yourself a bit.
Yeah, what was that guy? I'm just Googling him now. Oh yeah, Aaron Hernandez. He was like a football player. There's a documentary about him on Netflix. And he just like progressively started getting more and more violent and doing like just more and more outrageous shit. And then he died when he was 27, and they can't remember how he died, if he killed himself or if he died from the CTE, which is like the brain damage. I can't remember what CTE stands for, but let me see. Chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Chronic traumatic encephalopathy. It's a weird word. But yeah, it's a neurodegenerative disease linked to repeated blows to the head. And the encephalopathy, jeez, I can barely say that word. The encephalopathy symptoms can include behavioral problems, mood problems, and problems with thinking. And the disease often gets worse over time and can result in dementia. But yeah, they've found that like people in the NFL, are like pretty much 50% of them have it already, and if you don't, then you're definitely going to get it. Basically, it's like fucking crazy. So they're starting to have conversations about like what they can do to mitigate this. And in certain cases, there's been people like Aaron Hernandez who started like doing weird, crazy shit, like being extremely violent and like buying guns and like going and starting fights just with random people on the street and like just all this really crazy shit.
Yeah, it's crazy that like it's those kind of symptoms. Like I always imagined like brain damage is the kind of thing that like you just get a little bit dumber, like they punch you too many times, like you can't do maths now or something. But it's like it doesn't actually work like that. It's like people get like Parkinson's disease from this stuff. Like that happened to Muhammad Ali, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
correct.
yeah. So no, you gotta. It's not the healthiest sport. Like it's a lot of fun, right? But it's yeah, like especially to do it like at a more serious level, we're actually like sort of competing in that stuff. It's yeah, it's not so good.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's good to stay fit, especially if you're in the studio all the time. It's very easy, I think, to to just sit at the computer for 12
Oh
hours a
yeah.
day and get a hunchback and uh
Oh yeah. No, I know all about that. Like uh I ended up getting like a slip disc in my back, and it was from like essentially just sitting around too much, right? And you know, 'cause I would go through periods where like I'd be doing a bunch of training and then I'd get lazy and I wouldn't do it, and I just got hunchback, and then this like problem like up in like upper back, like up here, and and it took me so long to kind of fix that. Like when I first got it, it was so painful. Like I had trouble like getting out of bed, and it was just bad, right? I was going to all these doctors, getting X-rays and stuff like this, and yeah, and it's once you get it, it's really hard to fix it. So yeah, since then, like I ended up like just starting doing some like physio and things like this to fix it up, but it's really not pleasant. It's if you haven't had any kind of like back injury and you do sit in front of the computer a lot, just make sure you're doing a lot of training. You don't want to have to like learn it the hard way where you get like proper back problems, and then you're kind of fucked, right? You can't move. But yeah, so now like I do a lot of training now, like I just like calisthenics and stuff like this to sort of make sure I don't get like because like basically if I stop training for a couple of weeks, like I've got kind of like a permanent injury there now, and it just sort of comes back. It starts hurting. It's like someone's kind of stabbing a knife into that vertebrae. I just kind of feel like this sharp pain. So it's like, for me, it's like I'm training a lot just because if I stop, it really hurts, right? So
right. And the kind of training you're doing calisthenics is just sort of like push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, that kind of thing.
Just the really basic stuff, right? And like the good thing about that is like you can be locked in, like it can be a lockdown and everything, and you can still train that stuff. So like before the lockdown, I used to go to the gym and do that stuff, but now I just like go up onto the roof and like at the condo here and just train up there. Like push-ups, pull-ups. I do like some like handstand push-ups, squats, stuff like this. Yeah, just all that stuff.
Damn, handstand really push-ups are fucking hardcore, dude.
yeah, they take a bit of practice, but
do you do that against a wall, or do you do that like?
Yeah, it's against the wall. I can't do it freestanding. Yeah,
dude, those people who can do that shit freestanding are freaks, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, that's hard.
You have to be so strong.
Yeah, no, that's really hard. That stuff.
That's just like god tier core strength, basically, right?
It's more that stuff. Those are more like your like lats and shoulders for the handstand push-up. A little bit of tricep. But like the thing, what I like about calisthenics is that you're not loading yourself with like a whole bunch of like external weight. You're just using your own weight. So your body is actually really well evolved to kind of move your own body around. So it's much harder to get injured doing that stuff. I mean, I suppose you could like, if you try and do a handstand and you fall, you could hurt yourself that way. But it's like just doing the movement correctly, you're not really going to get hurt. But it's like, if you try and do like bench press stuff and you overload that, it's like it's pretty easy to hurt yourself there. Like
you can easily like
fall on you.
Right, or throw out a shoulder if you like have too much weight on the bar or something.
Exactly. Yeah. Like people like tear biceps and tear their pecs as well and stuff there. So the calisthenics seems to be like it's much better for like longevity and just general fitness, I think. Yeah. Do you do much training?
So the only training I've been doing pretty much over the last 6 to 8 months has pretty much just been mountain biking and rock climbing. I kind of I do a little bit of like weights at home, and I do a little bit of like I'll go for a walk once in a while and stuff like that. But I don't like necessarily think about my training regiments like that hard. I kind of just enjoy rock climbing and mountain biking, so I sort of just accidentally end up training a couple of times a week just because I want to do them anyway. But I find that's like the cardio from mountain biking is enough to keep my cardio good, and the sort of muscle work from rock climbing is enough to sort of get my body moving just enough that I don't get too many injuries from sitting too much. Plus my desk goes up and down, so like here I'll show you actually. yeah, I can like raise my entire setup.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah, no,
hold
that's
on.
cool. I was looking at getting one like that as well, but it's I was worried that all the cables would just pull my synths down when it goes up.
Yeah, so you have to be careful about that. And the way that I solve that is I put this like big server rack that like runs underneath the whole back of my desk, and it's like a big like a server loom, you know? It's like kind of a square little box that just runs under the desk. And I got like a power strip that I bolted to the bottom of the desk, and then everything is just like all the cables are just running through that loom, and all the power is just like all attached to the desk. So there's just like one power cable that goes to the desk, and that's it. And then everything else is attached.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. Like I had a whole bunch of trouble with like the electricity in my setup here. Like, 'cause like I don't know anything about electricity. I don't know how to hook things up, and the electricity that comes into the condos in Thailand is not it's not so reliable. It's it drops out. Um, there's no standardized wall sockets here, so they're using like the American ones and the European ones. Sometimes they're using both. Yeah, sometimes they're using like both in one house. So I had to buy like all these like adapters. A lot of my synths have like the Australian plugs, um, but they'll make these like adapters here, which take a 3-pin plug in, so like it's got a ground, right? But on the other side, it's only got 2 pins. So what it does is like it ungrounds your equipment that wants to be grounded. So like a bunch of times I'm getting like shocks off of my synthesizers, just off the body of the synth. I was getting shocks off the audio cables and stuff like this, and then like some equipment ended up frying as well. So it was yeah. What I ended up doing is like I ended up buying this
Like the Furman power conditioner or something like that.
yeah, this kind of thing, yeah, like a conditioner. I don't know. I'm looking at it now. It's like a Audio Wally. It's like a Chinese brand, but yeah, but this thing I think is a little bit better. So I ended up plugging everything into this, and then this is the only thing that actually plugs into the wall, right? So
Yeah.
I think
That's
might
kind of how
actually,
yeah, that's how I did it too. I like just mounted a Furman power conditioner to the bottom of the desk along with my RME, and then everything is just attached. And
Did
yeah,
you
it's a cool
notice any
setup.
did you notice any like less noise once you use that power conditioner?
Not really. I've found my noise situation has always been pretty under control. I think American power is like pretty stable. Yeah, I haven't seen any issues. But one thing is, I think, and this might just be like complete bullshit or just like something I'm imagining, but like whenever I'm in Australia or England, I find stuff sounds cleaner. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's like a power thing or something, but like, and it might just be a whole different fucking like an air pressure thing or a temperature thing. Or I have no idea, but like, I talked to Culprit about this, and he was like, "Yeah, you're probably just imagining shit." But for whatever reason, I just kind of like go back there and listen to stuff, and I'm like, I swear to God, like there's something going on with the power here.
Cleaner. Yeah, it could be. It could also be like each individual house, like the wiring in that house could make a big difference as well. Like maybe what else is like connected to your fridge and your AC and stuff like this that might be making a difference. Like I don't know. Like I said, I don't know much about this kind of stuff. I just plugged in things randomly until I got like electrocuted a couple of times, and then I was like, nah, like sort of should do it properly. So
yeah, totally. Going back to like injuries and stuff, what's the healthcare situation like in Thailand?
oh, it's actually pretty good. Like I was like initially I was a little bit surprised. Like I thought, it's not the richest country. Maybe it's going to be a bit shit, but it's not. It's actually really good. You can get like really good healthcare, and it's cheap as well. And it's actually so good that you get like medical tourists coming here. Like a lot of the time from America, like someone needs an operation, it's like it's way too expensive in America, and it turns out it's actually cheaper to fly to Thailand, do a holiday, get your operation, hang out at the beach for a bit, right? So
Yeah,
yeah, no,
I've
it's
heard
actually
of
very good. Yeah, it's
I've heard
actually
of
very
people
good. Yeah.
doing that for their teeth in Mexico. They're like, I could spend the same amount of money and do a fucking holiday to Mexico, like Cancun or something, get all of my wisdom teeth out and, get whatever fillings and shit I need done, and then just hang out.
Yeah, yeah, and it's actually pretty cheap to get stuff done here as well. Like a lot of Thai people don't even get insurance because like if you need to go to the hospital for whatever, it's like, well, maybe you got a bit of savings and then you just go, right? It's because it's not so bad.
Yeah, I mean, in America, it's, they won't turn you away. They'll still operate on you or do whatever they need to do. You just go into debt here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta pay it eventually. Like, I mean, the thing in Thailand is like a lot of the time you don't even need to go see a GP, because like a lot of stuff you just get at the pharmacy without a prescription. Like I can go and get antibiotics here if I want, just at the pharmacy. Um, so like in most countries like you need a prescription for that, but here you just go, right? So you end up like not going to the doctor really unless it's something actually serious, right? So like someone gets the flu here, they don't bother going to the doctor, right?
Right. They just go buy antibiotics and
Yeah, you just get antibiotics, you can get whatever you want, a muscle relaxer, whatever. Like,
damn. That's crazy that they just like so freely sell that stuff at the pharmacy. I
yeah,
guess like
that
they haven't maybe had the same problems that say a country like America has had with ephedra and meth or something,
Yeah, well, I mean, okay, so like that kind of stuff, like sort of more recreational stuff, like that's a bit harder to get, right? Like that, but just like most medicines that people aren't going to be taking for fun, yeah, a lot of those you can just get, you know?
Right.
Uh,
Even like benzos, like Valium and hydrocodone and stuff like that.
okay, so benzos, not at the pharmacy, but they got dudes that have stalls on the side of the street and they got them. So that's a little bit
That's
like less
fucking
less
crazy.
legal. Yeah, that's
Right,
a little
but
bit like,
it's crazy
but yeah,
that
you
they
can just
don't
get them.
get shut down. It's crazy that they
No,
have
they
stalls like that.
Yeah, 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 and it's a lot of the time it's in these tourist areas. So he's selling like, kind of funky socks and like like souvenirs and stuff like this. And then if you ask him, he's got some Valium at the back and he'll bring you that stuff.
That's crazy.
Viagra, like all this, whatever. Like, yeah, yeah, they sell all that stuff. Like, apparently, if the right pharmacist, you get like people are getting like steroids and stuff here as well, like anabolic steroids. Yeah, like actually, like a mate of mine here, he did that. He got on some steroids. He was trying to bulk up, and man, I noticed a big change in his personality. He's an older guy. He's a little bit older than me. And he starts taking this stuff, and then a couple of weeks later, he calls me up and he's like, "Hey, bro, do you want to do some kickboxing? Come over." And like, all right, we'll do a little bit of training, and it's like he's really like he wants to fight, right? And then so we start doing some like light sparring, and then this guy starts going like really hard. He's like getting really like I had to tell him like dude, like you need to chill out a bit, right? But it's like yeah, he got like super super aggressive and competitive, and like normally he's not like that. So
Damn.
yeah, like yeah, it was pretty
Yeah, I got
cool.
a friend that's gone through 2 courses of anabolic steroids. And I was like, don't they make your balls real small? And his response to me was like, in the most Australian accent ever, he was like, yeah, but they're fucking sick when they're small. They're all out of the way and shit. I was like, dude, that's the fucking funniest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
if that's it's worth those side effects like tiny balls, right?
Yeah. Well, I think they go back to normal when you stop taking them. I don't know why that's a side effect of steroids. It's weird, but
Yeah, I think it actually shuts down your like 'cause your balls make the testosterone, right? And if your body's got too much of it, they got nothing to do and they just kind of
that actually makes
shrink.
sense. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
like, all right, we better fucking hold back on this. It's too much.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that does make sense actually. Have you learned to speak Thai yet?
I like a little bit. Like I can speak and understand enough to do like kind of day-to-day stuff. But kind of not enough to have friends who don't speak any English, right? So like, I have Thai friends, and then they'll break into Thai, and like I'll follow along, but eventually I lose track of the conversation because like I just haven't learned enough. Like I picked up like enough to get by, but it's not so good, right?
Mm.
It's not fluent
And
or anything like that.
how long have you been there? Like 10 years or something?
Not quite 10. Like I think it's about 8 years.
Mm. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I was in Spain for like 3 months, and by the end of that period of time, I'd picked up a little bit. But I guess Spanish is a lot closer to English than Thai, probably.
Yeah. No, Thai it's a weird language. It's actually it's a tone-based language. So
Right. Yeah, so probably a lot of
for
people there have like perfect pitch and stuff, right?
I don't know. I don't know. Like they definitely can detect these small kind of changes in pitch tone, which like we wouldn't detect. So like I'll give you an example. Like they have a word, the word ma, right?
Oh yeah, it
That
can
means
mean like
like
horse or mother, right?
exactly, yeah. It actually like if you change the tone, it actually means it means horse. It actually does mean horse, or it can mean come here. If you change the tone again, it can mean dog. So it's yeah, like, and I think like Mandarin, I think is like that as well. Like, but yeah, but like no European languages like this. So yeah, that's a little bit hard to pick up initially.
Right, and the tone changes more pitch related, right? So it would be like ma or ma or ma.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
they go up
Yeah,
in
no,
pitch or down in pitch or whatever.
yeah, it's exactly that. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, that's super strange. I wonder if that's like got a lot of influence on their music and why a lot of Eastern music is kind of microtonal. To us, like
Right. Yeah.
microtonal music sounds all like broken and shit because we're not like we're used to this, Western 12-tone stuff. But I guess because they have these tonal languages where pitch is inherently driven in as such an important factor to listen for from like day one, that it maybe sounds a little bit more less challenging for them maybe.
Yeah. And I always wonder how something like auto tune would mess with a Thai person, right? Because he's trying to sing like "come here" and it auto tunes it. Now he's calling someone a dog, right? Because it just changed that pitch, right? Because because
It's a good
the
point.
word like changes its meaning if the pitch kind of rises like that, right? But
Right,
auto
right,
tune's
right.
going to flatten that out, right? So yeah, it must kind of mess with them a lot, right?
Yeah, like Thai pop music or something, if you like go to auto tune that. I never really thought of that, but that's
Yeah, right.
funny. So one thing I want to talk about, which well, I was doing some Googling of your name before this, just to like, again, like I said, to see what you've been up to. And one thing that kept coming up, like more than anything, was you're firing from unknown worlds for some tweets. Is that something you want to go over, or is it something you prefer
Yeah,
to leave
we
alone?
can if you don't mind. Like it could get political. I don't know. You want to get cancelled?
Well, I already got cancelled a few
Oh,
weeks ago for also
okay.
trans stuff. But I got
Trans stuff.
uncancelled because I put out a letter. Pretty much what I did was I said, I said, what did I say? It was that trans women shouldn't be able to compete in women's weightlifting or something like that, or women's sports, which seems like it seems like if you don't know anything about the situation, like that's the obvious stance to have. But then I did a bunch of people were like, dude, you're fucking way off on this one, you're wrong. And then I went and educated myself about it and put a big apology out, and people, for the most part, accepted my apology, which I'm glad they did. And I've changed my opinions now to realize that if you're a trans woman, it depends on how long you've been on hormone replacement therapy as to whether or not you should be allowed to compete in women's sports. And it turns out that that point in time is around 2 years, I think, of taking hormone replacements, 2 to 3 years. And then it seems like you're pretty much on the same level of testosterone and estrogen as a biological woman.
You're right. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Me either.
I mean, there
And
was
yeah,
there
I'm
was
glad I
recently
didn't
a
know that.
case. It's a MMA fighter. It was just in the news recently. And
Yeah, Fox. What's her name? Fox Fallon.
yeah,
Is that?
I think this was a different fighter. This was a new one. But yeah, there is Phelan Fox as well. Yeah, like I don't know how. Like I mean, to me, it seems like it's an unfair advantage. Like I know there's like men have like more bone density, and you know it seems unfair. But like at the same time, like I'm actually not completely against it just as a thing. Like I don't think it's particularly fair, but I actually think it makes a lot of women's sport like really interesting to watch, right? Because it's like, well, now you have this, it's like this extra element comes in there, and it's like, well, you know, because I don't know about you, but I've you know, because the sports have always been segregated, I kind of always thought like, well, how would like men actually do against women, right? And this is, you know, it kind of shows a bit of that, and it turns out that like, you know, it's yeah, like men have an advantage, but not always, right? So it's not like these trans athletes are gonna like always win, you know. So it's
Oh yeah, there's a
yeah.
bunch of interviews I listened to after I got cancelled where there's been instances of trans women in British rugby who have had their fucking spines like absolutely broken and like had discs slipped out and shit by biological women who have just hammered them in a tackle. So yeah, I mean that can happen for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
and
I think
and it depends on which sport as well. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So that yeah, the what I came to, I mean, after learning that I was wrong and putting out the apology and learning all this stuff about the issue, I thought about it some more, and I was like, you know what I actually would like to see in the Olympics is an Olympics where there's like no limits. You can take as much of any drug as you want. Like, then that'd be fucking interesting. Like if you could do as much testosterone as you want, as much steroids as you want, as much anything as you want, and then do the Olympics, like I think that would be way more fun to watch personally.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It for me, it's actually really weird that they ban this stuff, because it's like testosterone in itself is not so dangerous, especially for men, right? It's like you take it and it's like your body's totally used to having this thing kind of circulating around, and you know, and a bunch of dudes, like you go to the gym and a bunch of dudes are on this stuff, right? But then it's like a professional athlete can't take it. It's, I don't know, that always seemed weird for me. It's like, yeah, I think just let him have it, and just like let's see what the human body's capable of at its like maximum peak, and it's all he's juiced out of his brain, and you know, yeah, I'd love to watch that.
Yeah, I mean, you'd probably get like a few more injuries and a few more people dying of heart attacks and stuff like that for sure. So there'd be some danger incurred there, I think. But I mean, I think at that point it's on the person who's deciding to take the drugs, right? It's like if it's a marathon race, you know, you might want to take something to, you might not want to go so hard on the steroids or something, because, you know, that might like fuck you up in some ways or whatever. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I was reading about the tweet that got you fired, and it looks like it was from like 2016, and your boss at the time, I guess I'm going to call him Cleveland, but I think he has a first name, right?
Yeah, Charlie, yeah.
Charlie. So his name's Charlie Cleveland.
Mm.
So he put a poll up on Twitter, and the poll said something like, would you prefer if we worked on adding the ability to play as a woman in our games, or would you prefer that we spent our time working more on the core like engine of the game, so the game runs better? You put a poll up, and by landslide, work on the core of the game so the game works better won. And then you responded like as a joke, I think we need a diversity slider which would make the character progressively darker and more feminine and less sexy. And that was what got you cancelled, basically, right?
Yeah, and then, I mean...
And the crazy thing to me, though, is that, like, this shit happened in 2016, and then you proceeded to work there for another 2 years, and it was only 2 years later, right, that people started complaining about it, that this Charlie Cleveland guy who originally put up the poll, who definitely saw the response to the tweet, because it was his poll, then decided to fire you after 2 years.
Yeah, no, of course. It was like, you know, there was never any problems while I was working there, right? It was just, you know, they essentially got scared because they had this like mob sort of, all texting them at once, like, hey, like this guy's so bad, you gotta fire him, all this sort of stuff. And they make it look like it's like a customer revolt, right? So this scares most companies. They're like, oh shit, our customers are pissed off, right? This is like, that's scary for a company, right? But the thing is, like, from the get-go, like, I kind of knew that this wasn't like, it wasn't like a genuine offense that had been caused. Like, because I mean, you think about it, like, how would someone find this old tweet, right? You got to go looking for it, right? It's not like someone's just, they're so into the game that they're just like scanning years back to find something, like just because they're interested, right? It's like they're doing it because they want to find something that they can kind of mess you up for, because I mean, you think about it, like, if you're the kind of person who, if you know this about yourself, that you're very easily offended by something that someone wrote, like, why would you go look for it? It's like, that makes no sense. That's like going to the park and trying to find a dog shit to step in. It's like deliberately stepping in a dog shit and then getting angry that, like, now there's a bad smell. It's like, it makes no sense, right? So, like, I kind of, from the get-go, I kind of knew that this was like, it's these people aren't really pissed off. Like, they're not
They
really...
just like the smell of dog shit.
Yeah, it's like, like the whole thing seemed like a bit like contrived, because it's contrived to, like, cause trouble like this, to get someone fired, and then it's almost like a power thing, right? It's like, oh, here's us, and we can get whoever we want fired. It's like this kind of thing.
Yeah, I read a Reddit thread about this, and some guy in this Reddit thread was like, so seems like some people have been talking about this Simon Chylinski dude and how he's like made this tweet. And then there's a few people that were like, no, he's a good dude. And then this fella on Reddit, or person on Reddit, was like, well, look what I found. And it looks like they went through your likes, like things that you had liked on Twitter, not even things that you'd posted yourself. Like, and a like does not necessarily mean an endorsement. I mean, you can accidentally like something, right? And you had 10,700 likes at the time. And he looked through all of them, it seemed, and found 4 that were problematic in the mildest ways possible. Like, they were basically just like innocuous memes, pretty much. And he was trying to like make this point that you're this racist transphobe off that.
Yeah, no, it's like, this stuff's actually like really common. It actually happened to me like a month or two ago. So I got commissioned to do some sounds for this mod team. They were actually like doing a mod on Subnautica.
Oh yeah,
right?
was that
So,
the YouTuber, right? And
Anthomnia. Yeah. Okay, so that's probably the same case. Yeah, so it was this guy. He was like, he was saying all this stuff that, like, based on like a like of a comic, he's like, now he's inventing all this stuff. Now he's like, well, this guy obviously, like, he's got to be a Nazi. He hates me, and I can't work with him because obviously this guy wants me dead and stuff like this. Like, saying this, right? It's like, I've never met this guy. We've never interacted, and then this guy's saying all this stuff like that I want him dead. It's like, dude, like, I literally didn't know you existed until this, But anyway, like, later on, this guy Anthomnia ended up doing a video, kind of just exposing this guy, like, just showing, like, like, what is he doing, right? Anyway, the mod team ended up like kicking him off the team, and then made the sounds for them. But it's like, for me, it seems so weird that someone would act like that, right? Like, it's okay, you're part of a mod team, so obviously, like, you want to get into game dev, right? And here you have like a pretty big time YouTuber helping you out, funding your mod, and like, this YouTuber actually like commissioned me, right? So he's paying me to make sounds for them, and then now this guy's turning around and being like, nah, I'm not gonna do it. Like, I'm not gonna, And so, like, initially I thought, like, okay, that's like super unprofessional. It's like, if you wanna like work on a team, you gotta, not everyone's gonna agree with everything, not everyone's gonna like the same comics you like, right? You gotta, just work with people, right? So I assumed it's a kid, right? but I knew that he was looking through my Twitter, so I wanted to find who he was to block him, right? So I got his name from Discord, I pasted in Twitter, turns out, yeah, he's using the same name. I found him, and it's like, it's this middle-aged guy, like old guy. It's like, dude, you should know better. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was maybe a kid, but it's not. It's like it's an old balding guy. I'm like, fuck, man, what's wrong with these people? Anyway, so I blocked him, and then that's the end of it. But it's like, yeah, this stuff, it's kind of crazy. There's a lot of drama that happens in games. You wouldn't think, but it's like,
Well,
yeah,
I think
there's a lot of this stuff.
partially the reason why is just because like a lot of people in the gaming industry are just spending so much time in a room by themselves, sitting on either the game or Twitter, and they get stuck in this like world of looking at Twitter, which is essentially a form of media, right? And their whole feed, if they, start to get radicalized by an echo chamber of people that are just espousing the same ideas as them, becomes just all but exactly that. It just becomes a whole feed of like how they should think and what they should do. And if something is like slightly not in agreement with any of that, this is the reaction that they should have. And I think, yeah, they kind of just have their scripts on lock, which, are often, yeah, I don't know. It's in my opinion, what it felt like when I got kind of semi-cancelled, it felt like a form of like cyberbullying, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
It didn't feel like
absolutely.
people were trying to actually make progress and trying to get justice. It felt like people were just bullying me because that's what they felt like they were supposed to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's absolutely. They're ganging up and they're bullying someone. It's like it reminds me so much of just like bullies in high school. And like the way I would always deal with bullies in high school is like I would make their life really difficult. Like even if I get like beat up for it, like I would still make sure like I'd still get one or two punches in, or I'd just like the thing with me, it's like I could always run pretty fast. So like this guy, he was older than me, he used to bully me in high school. So all I used to do is like from across the field, I used to call out to him and say, "Hey, I fucked your mom," and then I'd run away. And I kept doing that, and everyone saw it. Everyone saw it, and this guy was so fucking embarrassed because here's this kid saying that he fucked his mom, and he can't get me because I run faster than him, right? So after that, he never bullied me, and no one else bullied me because they're like, "Fuck, I don't want to get embarrassed like that." Right? Even though like I was pretty skinny as a kid, so I couldn't fight these guys, but I could run, and it just like that's what you got to do to bullies. You just make their life a little bit harder, and then they leave you alone. So like that's when I was getting cancelled like from Subnautica, that's what I started doing. It's like these guys were saying, oh, he made like a helicopter meme, it's so transphobic. So I just started like posting like helicopter emojis to these guys, right? Like that's how I would do it. I just make their life a bit harder, but it's I don't know. I guess the company didn't see it like that, right? They just, the bully told them to fire the sound guy, so they did it, right? It's like
right. I mean,
yeah.
What I think that was on their part was just protecting their investment, right? Which is their company. I don't think that Charlie Cleveland necessarily agrees with these people because he let you work there for 2 years after the initial tweet was made. He just didn't want his company to get, fucked over by Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely. Which and I think it's I think actually like what he did actually really backfired on them, because what was happening was like all this stuff was on Twitter, right? But the Steam reviews were not mentioning this stuff at all. The Steam reviews were normal. So like this already I know that these aren't really the customers, right? These are just like Twitter activists, right? But as soon as he fired me, then it went on to the Steam reviews. They got like so many negative reviews, like all in a row, like hundreds of negative reviews all in a row, right? So that action actually pissed off the actual players of the game, right?
Right, because then they're like, oh no, like the sound is going to change in the following games, or like the updates are going to be different. And
yeah, right. Because I mean, they're fans of the game. Like a lot of people were enjoying the music and everything there, and it's like, yeah, and that kind of it sort of pissed them off, right? So, like, I mean, that's like what I think. Like with these kind of online mobs, like the best thing is just like you just ignore them. You just don't acknowledge what what they're saying, and they eventually just get bored. It's like 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, and then, if it's too difficult, they'll just move on to someone else, just like every other bully, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's essentially, yeah. Anyway, moving on. I noticed also when I was Googling around that you had been nominated for a Golden Joystick Award, and I don't even know what that is. Do you want to explain it?
Yeah, it's a like, to be honest, like I don't know that much about these like award shows, but I think it's like I think it's a pretty prestigious award. It's like the Golden Globes, but for games, right? Um, so yeah, so Subnautica got nominated for that, and it was actually like I was pretty proud of that, because that was like, okay, the other games that got nominated in that category were these big like AAA studios with like like whole teams for audio, right? And then there's like me on my laptop just making all the music for this thing. Like most of the time you're just using the laptop speakers, right? So I was like, yeah, that's, I thought that was pretty cool, right? But yeah, so so that was nice. Like I think the thing with that stuff though is like, you know, like Subnautica was a really good platform to make good sound for a game, because you can't actually achieve that in every single game, just because just some games are just like better for sound, right? So like Subnautica is like you're swimming there by yourself usually, so there's just a bit of ambience and there's occasional like creatures and stuff like this, so it's not very dense, so it's easier to mix, everything's clearer. And then it was also like a very sort of like a slower paced game, like calming. So like the music is just these like drones and stuff like this, and there. I don't know. It's very easy to make something evocative when you have just a few elements like that. Whereas like, if you try to do something like that with, I don't know, like a shooter or something like this, where it's like chaotic and there's sounds everywhere, like that's much harder to make that thing sound really good, right? Just because there's so many elements, and it's a challenge just to get any sort of clarity in a game like that, right?
Yeah, I could also imagine that with a game like a shooter, a gun sound is a gun sound, right? Like you just got to make gun sounds or whatever. Whereas like with Subnautica, you're underwater a lot of the time, and what does underwater sound like? It's
Right.
nothing.
Yeah.
If you go underwater, there's nothing there, so it's kind of, you get space to explore. Like what would that possibly sound like as well?
Yeah, exactly. It's actually really weird. So, I'd never been scuba diving when I started Subnautica, right? But I decided that like I should give it a try. Like I was never really interested in that, but like I thought I'd give it a try just to kind of see what it's actually like to scuba dive, right? So I did it, and it's really weird, like what underwater actually sounds like. It doesn't sound like what you would expect. It's not this like kind of muffled low hum. It's not that, right? Like you would expect that's what it is, but it's not. It's this like, you hear these like crackling kind of sounds, like it's almost like popcorn. It's like it's like this kind of stuff, right? And it's constant. And like for a long time I didn't know what it was. I asked the scuba instructor like what it was, and he says it's actually like fish kind of like nibbling on coral, and when they snap it off, it makes this like clicking sound. So it's actually like, it has this weird kind of sound that you wouldn't expect underwater. Another thing I noticed, because I had to do some underwater recording as well. So like for example, like the player character, when he gets injured underwater, that's me like screaming under the water, right? So I got like an underwater microphone, and I'm in there, and there was a bunch of other sounds that I had to record underwater as well. And
did
like
you do that
sound,
at home in your bathtub, or did you do that like in a lake or pool?
in a pool. Yeah, in a pool. Like in
Okay.
the condo has a pool, so I did it in
Nice.
there. Yeah, but the weird thing about like recordings underwater, it's like sound actually travels faster underwater. It's a denser medium. The molecules are closer together, so they push against each other faster, right? Just because they're closer. So what that does is the echoes change. So like the sense of space and the reverb changes. So it actually sounds like a lot smaller. So the space, because because everything's hitting the walls and coming back at you faster, and you perceive that as like a smaller space. So it's really weird. It's like things sound tiny underwater, which is again, it's not what you would expect. It's like that's not how I designed the sounds for Subnautica either. I wanted to give them this like kind of epic feel where it's like this vast open thing. So like it had these like long reverbs and stuff like this on it, but yeah, it turns out that's actually it's actually the complete opposite of that. It's like things sound small and not epic underwater, you know?
Mm. Yeah, interesting. All right. Well, my final question, I guess, is just what are you working on at the moment? And
Yeah, so I'm on like three projects right now. Like one is called IMC. It's a top-down RTS kind of sci-fi game, but it's got this twist where you're playing cards. So it's like a collectible card game, and you're throwing it down, and then the units are reacting to these cards. It's an interesting concept. I'm expecting that one to do pretty well. It's got this like unique kind of gameplay. I haven't seen that in any other game, so I'm quite excited to for people to like play that one. Another thing I'm on is it's a dragon game. It's called Day of Dragons. So this is it's like a multiplayer dragon game. So that one's really fun. I'm just like designing all these like creature sounds for that. That's really good. And then another one. This one is like it's pretty early in development. There's not much public information about it, but it's like a horror game. It's like a survival horror. It's got some zombies. It's got some shooting. It's actually really cool.
Is it called Die Young? Is that one?
This one, it's the same company that made Die Young. It's set in the same universe, but it's not going to be called Die Young. It's something else. It's like a different story, but in the same kind of universe.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. Like I've always wanted to work on like a legit kind of horror game. And so yeah, finally get the chance. It's really fun to make horror music. It's the sort of chords and stuff you use are just these like it literally random chord, like just you kind of lean on your keyboard, and that's a horror chord, right? It's
yeah, just complete dissonance.
Yeah, just like that, and it sounds like really unnerving and kind of wrong.
Tense.
And but you want it to sound like that. So it's it's great for me. I don't have that much like sort of music theory knowledge, so this is perfect. I just kind of like lean on it and like make crazy sounds. It's a lot of fun to make horror music.
Damn, that's sick. Are you finding working on like 3 projects at the same time to be pretty overwhelming, or do you think at this point your organization skills and work ethic and all of that kind of stuff is sort of good enough that you can kind of manage that?
It's it's pretty full on. It's like I managed to do it, but it's like I ended up having to put in like pretty long hours. I'm on average I'm working like maybe 60 hours a week to keep up with these things. So it's it's a lot, but like at the same time it's like we've had like lockdown here for 6 months, so it's like I couldn't leave anyway. I couldn't go do anything else anyway. So it was
right.
Yeah,
it's cool as well that like after like even though lockdown happened, due to the nature of your job, you didn't lose your job as a somebody in the music industry, right? Because a lot of my friends did,
right?
And people who were touring and stuff like that. And it was really only the sort of higher paid, bigger artists or people in cheap living situations or people who were living with their parents still and stuff like that who could actually continue being a musician.
Right. That must have been rough. Like you were all right though, right? Like
I was okay, yeah, because I have the whole like tutorial thing going on, and I have like all the sample packs that I sell online, and I mean I've always been heavy into YouTube and Twitch streaming and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was fine for me, but I was lucky. But yeah, a lot of people were definitely not, unfortunately.
No, 'cause you're pretty diversified. That's really good. Like that's why I took these kind of three gigs now, because like after I got canceled I was like, fuck, I had like nothing to fall back on. Like so now I'm like, okay, like I need plan B, plan C and all this sort of stuff. So that's partly the reason why I am working 3 jobs, like in case, and it's not like I'm not particularly worried about getting canceled now, because it's like at this point, like anyone who hires me basically knows that, like, you know, I said some edgy shit some years ago, right? So at this point, like, the people that hire me, they you know, they're okay with that, right? But still, it's good, you know, because you never know what happens with these companies. Like, they all seem to be doing pretty well right now, but you don't know, right? They might go out of business. They might need to, like, you know, cut down or whatever, right? So it's good to have, you know, some backups.
Yeah, totally. Cool, man. Well, yeah, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, man. It's been fun to catch
thanks
up.
for having me.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, I'd love to work on something someday.
Yeah, we definitely should.
If I can get into the sound design industry. I've been trying to get it. I've been like toying with the idea of getting into it for a long time, but like the whole electronic music DJ career thing is also doing pretty well. And like I'm also running a music label and doing tutorials. So I've got like too much shit on my plate currently, but I really do want to make a sound design reel at some point and get into that industry. I think that's kind of like my maybe my retirement plan is to
just kind of chill out and make some sounds. Yeah, like it's because it is pretty chill work, right? It's just from home, and a lot of the time it's, you know, it's quite fun. Like you know, I'll get like a you know, like some concept art of a new creature, and then I just gotta invent how it sounds. Like it's you know, it's fun, rewarding work. So yeah, definitely we should do you know, I'll give you some tips, you give me some tips about music, and
yeah. Super down. All right, man. Well, yeah, thanks a lot.
Cool, man.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Mr. Bill podcast. These episodes are edited and uploaded by Robert Fumo. You can also support the show, get early access to episodes, and hear bonus content by going to patreon.com/Mr. Bill's Tunes and becoming a patron. Please rate and review on iTunes unless you're going to be a little shit about it. And all the links to my various platforms are at MrBillsTunes.com. Thank you.